Welcome to the final episode of The Rock on 2. In this episode, we take you to the Northern Peninsula. We'd like to think that we've saved the best for last, but we'll let you be the judge of that as we explore this spectacular region of the island. In this episode, we learn that there's more to life than motorcycles as we challenge ourselves with some strenuous hiking through some of Gros Morne National Park's greatest treasures. We will take you back 1,000 years to the first Vikings and the first non-indigenous people to reach the shores of North America. And you will see what may be the only place in this world where the Earth's mantle has been forced to the surface at the Tablelands. The Northern Peninsula is a place of splendor and a place that I am very proud to call my childhood home. The Northern Peninsula begins at Deer Lake and continues north on Route 430. Our advice to those who have not been here before is to ride slowly and stop often. Rushing through will deprive yourself of a complete and unforgettable experience. The Northern Peninsula is the longest peninsula in Newfoundland and Labrador and contains many glacier fjords, even some visible from the highway beginning right here in Gros Morne. Just moments from Deer Lake, you begin to climb up the mountaintops of the Long Range Mountains. The elevation is such that your ears fill with pressure as you reach the top, but return to normal shortly after you descend the other side of Southeast Mountain. We are now in the heart of Gros Morne National Park. Perhaps the best way to put Gros Morne National Park into perspective is to say that it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. That designation puts it on par with such natural wonders as Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Once you reach the ocean, you follow the coast along beautiful Bombay, weaving in and out of its many little coves. The temperature reached 30 degrees in Deer Lake, but it was 25 degrees here at Bombay, where we took time to rest and overlook the scenic towns of Norris Point and Woody Point in the distance. Back on the bikes, we're now en route to Rocky Harbour for lunch. It was only a matter of minutes when we left the warm Bombay area when the temperatures dropped to about 16 degrees as we reached the coast. It felt a little cool considering we left Deer Lake just a short time ago in t-shirts and 30 degrees. Riding motorcycle, unlike many forms of travel, really does tease your senses, and you experience the changes in weather in real time. We arrive at the Sunset Restaurant a little cool, a little hungry, but nothing warms the body and soul better than a bowl of pea soup and a homemade sandwich. This being our 9th day of riding, we are looking forward to just relaxing for a couple of days in my hometown of Daniels Harbour. We have a lot of exploring to do in this region during the next 5 days. We leave the warmth of the cozy restaurant to once again hit the road for the last 87 kilometers of riding for the day. The weather is cool and the sky threatens rain. By the time we arrived in Sally's Cove, the light rain began. Time to pull over and put the rain gear on before we get wet, cold, and uncomfortable. We continue on, and the light rain turns to heavy rain by the time we reach Cow Head. With only 40 kilometers to go, we can handle whatever Mother Nature puts in front of us at this point. Truth is, this was the first rain that we've encountered since leaving St. John's 9 days ago. We've been blessed so far. We arrive in Daniels Harbour in the mid-afternoon for some rest, relaxation, and a few sociables as we plan our region's excursions, riding and hiking for the next 5 days. After a 2-day rest and spending some quality time with my parents, we're back on the road again and back exploring the Gros Morne area of the Northern Peninsula. Today we're heading to the Tablelands and Gros Morne National Park. The ride heading south on Route 430 on this warm blue sky day is absolutely breathtaking. The Strait of St. Lawrence to the right, the wetlands and long-range mountains to the left, and nothing but great riding ahead have you wishing that this day never ends. We arrive in Wiltondale and take Route 431 to Woody Point. The road winds through a valley of big timber before reaching the Lomond River. Lomond was made famous by Lee Wolfe, an adventure writer, pilot, and sport fisherman from the United States. In 1946, Wolfe began bringing American fishermen to these rivers teeming with large salmon. His wife Ella purchased Keldova Lodge at Lomond in 1947, and Wolfe would meet his sports there and ferry them north, first to tents, then to cabins as his business expanded. His early films about Newfoundland and Labrador angling spawned a career out of traveling the globe doing outdoor shows with celebrities. He died in 1991, suffering a heart attack at age 86 while on a routine flight to renew his pilot license. Other than the highway itself, little has changed to the scenery en route to Woody Point. Although Woody Point was once the economic capital of Western Newfoundland, today it serves as a haven for artists, photographers, and writers who become inspired here by its raw and natural beauty. Just moments away from Woody Point, the landscape takes on a Mars-like atmosphere, with its reddish-brownish earth reaching as far as the eye can see. It is not just atypical landscape to Newfoundland and Labrador, but atypical to the world. The color is due to the oxidization of the high iron content of the Earth's mantle that was forced to the surface 500 million years ago. So the color is actually rust, formed on the rock. This is more than a place to ride by, it is a place to explore. We park the motorcycles at the base of Table Mountain to take the short 2-kilometer hike into the gorge. There is something special about this place, and you can't help but feel like you are visitors on some distant planet. After we reach the gorge, we sit for a while next to a pristine brook and stare at the fantastically rare scenery. Although there's no designated trail to the summit of Table Mountain, you can choose just about anywhere to ascend to the top. With temperatures in the high 20s, the snow patches near the top were too appealing to ignore. The hike appears easy, but the shale rock shifts under your feet, making it difficult hiking at times. There's something about snow that brings the kid out in everyone. After we've had our fun, we relax and soak up the hot sun while taking in the awesome scenery at the top of Table Mountain. Back at the base of the mountain, we prepare for the relaxing ride home to Daniels Harbour as we once again ride through the spectacular scenery of Gros Morne National Park. We awake to another beautiful sunny day on day 12 of our tour of the Rock. Today we're heading to the northern tip of the peninsula and the St. Anthony area. After our little lecture from my parents on motorcycle safety, it's off we go. The coastline of the Northern Peninsula is absolutely beautiful in its own right, and it's wide open to the Gulf of St. Lawrence from Daniels Harbor to Eddies Cove, nearly 200 kilometers away. We stop at the Lunchbox Cafe in Flowers Cove for home-cooked soup and sandwich. We are absolutely charmed by Chastity and the wonderful hospitality she serves with her delicious food. She was a beautiful soul indeed. We gas up the motorcycles again and head across the tip of the Northern Peninsula into the White Bay and on to St. Anthony. We check into a hotel north, unload our bags, and head back on the road again. Our first destination today is Lanse Meadows. Discovered in 1960, it is the most famous site of a Viking settlement in North America. Dating to around the year 1000, it is notable for its possible connection with the attempted colony of Vinland established by Leif Erikson around the same time period. It was named a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1978. Adjacent to the famed site is Norstad, a period replica community complete with actors. We tour the site and browse through the many buildings and artifacts. It is humbling to know that we stand on the same ground as the Vikings did over 1,000 years ago. After we try our skills at axe throwing, we're back on the road again to St. Anthony and the Lighthouse hike. Although the walk to the top of the hill was nice and the scenery of St. Anthony was beautiful, the highlight of the hike today was our encounter with several small foxes. They were as caught up in us as we were in them. We continue our tour of the area and head over to Goose Cove. Goose Cove is a small fishing community dating back to the mid-1800s. Fishing is still a big part of the community, nearly 150 years later. Well, that's it for today as we retire to our hotel. Tomorrow we head back to Main Brook and on to Port au Soir, then back to Daniels Harbor again for the night. The landscape is ever-changing, and from the forested area of Main Brook on the White Bay side of the Northern Peninsula to the barren lands on the Gulf side, the eyes are constantly aroused by the spectacular changes in scenery. We arrive at the Port au Soir Lighthouse for a break and a few photos. After our short break, we head back into town to the Anchor Cafe for a bite to eat before hitting the road again for the final hour of riding to Daniels Harbor. It's been another full day of riding and exploring. Welcome to day 14 and Gros Morne Mountain. Today, we hike to the summit of Gros Morne at 806 meters. This 16-kilometer hike will challenge even the most veteran of hikers, let alone two motorcycle riders. The first few kilometers of the trail is a gentle climb through forest and a few clearings. The mountain looms larger as you get closer to the base. Preparation for a strenuous hike is very important. The first time Wanda and I climbed the mountain in 1991, we were just in our 20s and thought of nothing. At the time, we took one small bottle of pop and a big bag of potato chips. We were out of nourishments before we started the climb. With age comes wisdom, and this time in my backpack, I carried 4 liters of water and enough grub for a small army.
That's exactly 4 kilometers we've come.
With the lightest part of the trail behind us, and standing at the base of Gros Morne, we settle in for the strenuous hike to the top. The heart rate pounds as you pull yourself up the large rocks. There were times I'd count the steps until I could go no more, and then after each rest, I would try to add a few more steps before stopping again. It is important to push the limits of your body and mind. That's what memories are made of. We reach the summit of Gros Morne at 806 meters and have a snack before going down the backside of the mountain. Those who have climbed Gros Morne know that as wonderful as the summit is, the best is yet to come, with the amazing view of 10 Mile Pond as you descend. The climb up Gros Morne was strenuous, but the descent was grueling. The constant pounding on the knees as your weight transfers downward onto the rocks below. We rest for a little while back at the mountain's base and are entertained by a bird wanting to share our trail mix. We continue our hike and return to the motorcycles for the ride back to Daniels Harbor. With over 6 hours of strenuous hiking, it was extremely nice to feel the comfort of our motorcycle seat and watching the soothing landscape pass us by. Heading north near Western Brook, we ride up on caribou grazing by the roadside. The loud pipes must have startled them as they began to run right alongside us. It's moments like this you realize why this is such a special place. We arrived back in Daniels Harbor before sunset to a family curious as to how our day turned out. One word: unforgettable. The ride home. It's day 15 and thus the long and grueling 800 kilometers back to St. John's by sundown. This trip was amazing, and I am blessed to have shared it with my best friend and wife, Wanda. She turned out to be a seasoned rider and gained so much confidence during the nearly 6,000 kilometers. I am so proud of her. Together, we have smelled, tasted, felt, and seen the rock on two, and I can say without hesitation that this has been the best vacation ever. Thanks for sharing this experience with Wanda and I. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.